Other for essence the can Ofori Atta asanko hospital bill for another surgery. Other for manko na yanko this answer when na nchim Ghanatube emergency
in the studios, and thanks for having me. I must say that when it comes to fairness as a matter of law, it may be difficult for me to ascertain without knowing the conditions of the patient. Because when it comes to prostate cancer, we have different stratification of prostate cancer.
Tell us about prostate cancer generally and the kind of condition it puts the patient.
Yeah, so the patient might have just been diagnosed of prostate cancer, but it's stable. Okay, and maybe there was just a small rise in the PSA level and further tests needs to be done. And then we also have advanced prostate cancer. So if in the case of an advanced prostate cancer, I would think that the person will need time to undergo treatment. So that is where maybe I would say maybe they are unfair to the person. So we need to know the state of the diagnosis.
From the letter, from the medical letter that we are reading from the Mayo Clinic, what do you see?
Yes, I mean, from what I've seen circulating on social media, it appears as at March, from the two letters that I've seen, as at March, it was clear that he will be undergoing surgery. So it's very difficult to reconcile the two letters, because the second letter now says that he had to undergo MRI guided biopsy. So it means as at that time, no diagnosis have been made unless Mayo want to send that information that the biopsy was the surgery that they were talking about. But usually biopsies are done as a day activities. Usually in Kolebu Teaching Hospital is done on the ward and patient goes home the same day. Some even do it in the clinics, you know, so it's very difficult to reconcile.
Hold on, you say that you're saying that potentially this is a situation where the person could have.
Other for when you say can Ofori Atta and just the doctors and then the next promotion no. Almost the crata tintin aba and Chebian OSP obey declare can Ofori Atta wanted our Ghana has no bia baby Ghana as see no ameno casano can Ofori Atta the doctors and then the nurses for almost the letter aba says still an home torn in obey yam make a crowd for when a breaking news about to jam speaking in a bro Ghanatube for my uncle na yes uncle to and so emergency.
I've walked into the hospital and the whatever the procedure will be done and then they'll walk out.
Yes, this is what we do in Kolebu, and I'm sure in many hospitals across the country where urological services is available.
So biopsy is not a surgery, is it?
Well, it's a form of a minor surgery to say. It's a minor surgery, but it's not. It's surgery to gain diagnosis, to make a diagnosis or to enable you make a tissue diagnosis, but it is not the surgery to remove the disease per se.
So is it not logical that from what we are reading, the biopsy was in March?
Yeah, when I read that letter, it doesn't appear the biopsy was done in March. It doesn't appear so. And like I said, the two letters are really difficult to reconcile in terms of the chronology of activities that they had scheduled for him. Unless maybe he did a PSA somewhere in February where they saw an increase in his PSA and then decided to do the biopsy in March. But usually for an advanced center like Mayo, I was expecting that if your PSA is very high, even in Kolebu here, you'll be scheduled for biopsy as soon as possible because you don't know the aggressiveness of the tumor. So why would you wait for that long before you go and get like a tissue biopsy to know how aggressive the tumor is?
Going to this hospital, does it not suggest to you that the situation is quite dire? That's why perhaps Ghana, we can't get a treatment or we can't help or we can't do it as best as is possible. That's why he's gone there.
I think it has to do with his personal decision. But when it comes to prostate cancer treatment, Ghana is one of the most advanced in terms of prostate cancer diagnosis and treatment in the sub-region, where we've had high-level government officials in the sub-region across many West African countries and in-country as well, including members of the previous government and members of this government.
Okay.
I say this because I've had the opportunity to even treat some of them as a neurosurgeon who have undergone this cancer treatment in the hands of people like Professor J.E. Mensah, and they've survived for all these years and needed spine surgery later on. That is how I got to even know about it. I've actually looked at what Mayo does, and I don't think that there is anything special that they would do for a prostate cancer patient that does not really exist in Ghana or change the prognosis of the patients, unless maybe there are some trials they are doing in terms of chemotherapy, immunotherapy.
Okay.
And we have an oncology unit here. Those drugs could be.
Other four just say hospital yankasa kane finance minister Ken Ofori Atta no omo de letter tintin and as a reply tintin e aba just say still ano ye finance minister ne kane finance minister no Ken Ofori Atta still ano ho nto no ye enti no be yam make kakra e dey treating order for letter no aba bitodwa ma menkan ni nyanche obo say statement from Mayo Clinic hospital na yankasa kane finance minister. You see, dear, hello, dear sir, stroke, madam. You see, Mr. Kenneth Nanaya Ofori Atta has been seen and evaluated at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. His medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments and undergoing further testing and management, including possible surgical intervention in March of 2025. Please contact me with any further questions. She say letter tintia omoso omode bae no, but still an osha just say your finance minister, can finance minister still an hun tone ye and no still an just say you go su sheno. Until when a breaking news, I just say, Abeto Jam, Miss Medina, a bro, Ghanatube for my call, na yanko to answer Miss Umbracia.
But
just not to cut you short, just to buttress this point, during the time of COVID, when now people couldn't fly out of this country, there were drugs that were flown in that were said to be the best for the management of COVID. That was given to some of these politicians because they couldn't fly out of the country.
All right.
So it is not beyond the capacity of the urologists of Ghana to diagnose prostate cancer and manage prostate cancer.
All right.
I don't think there is big difference between what Mayo would have done than what Kolebu would have done.
Yes, but like you said, it's a personal choice. Thank you very much, Doc, for this intervention. At least gives me an idea of
Adofo Ken Ofori Atta nsem na edija e wo Ghana asi obi aka ho asem a meso begini nyina brew e wo Ghana to sisi ana me na wo kasa ne yes still an ho nto ne ntin still an obehia se obehye under doctor's control anase doctor for behye no anase obekoso awo hospital ho na doctors for na hwe na sana ne se ne ho tona ne wetumi aba na te se nsem bi mu a OSP ni ebisa no wetumi aba no aba be yi nyina no wo Ghana ha se odofo we na ye Ofori Atta ne nsɛmsɛm ekoso a aidija wo Ghana ha se am so be ni nyina bro wo Ghana ti odofo mamu refi se like na ma subscribe na ma share na ma hit notification bell so am se na be ya abrini abibia drop your content a wo so nya ne ntempa na wa hwe no ti am odofo aha na me de Ofori Atta ne nsɛm nyina besi wo Ghana ti madam nyina se